What's going on? Troy the Cruikshank here with some more time to inspire the community about salvation. I'm hanging out in the area of soul science. And in the area of soul science, individuality. Individuality pertaining to where you have, let's say, an individual investing in education. And there is where there is the travel pretty much from preschool to the college graduation, let's say. With this, there is where the individual is rewarded gifts placed in the bosom of the individual for making such a travel, being congratulated, and etc., etc. With this, there is at the beginning of the individuals happening to say, right when coming from the womb, where soul science is found, as in coming from the womb with sexuality and immediately study to go along with one's lifetime, to grasp that where the individual is getting to preschool, kindergarten, junior education, junior high, and high school without a mandate to go to the next level, to say college. So in individuality, where again there is the opportunity for study to settle there at the beginning, to, let's say, heed to advice that's found in the universe where it's presenting, there's nothing really what the human being can do with sexuality the first 18 years of life, right? So to say, when coming from the womb with sexuality pertaining to individualities, bringing sexuality, soul, and spirit on each and every day, and then to say, bringing it strategically. So as soon as the sexuality comes from the womb study, that gives us soul science. So now, in leaving the hospital to get on with one's lifetime, and that's all brought with them. Sexuality soon as the individual comes from the womb, and then sexuality or study. So sexuality and then study, and then this gives that soul science. To further the description, where the word soul uses lesser words than science, to say where soul is sexuality, and then our pertains to sexuality, and then uh, uh, science pertains to study, to say that soul uses lesser words than the word science, to grasp that again, where like the first 18 years is nothing that the human really could do with sexuality. So allows that studies settle in, that's getting to preschool, that's getting to kindergarten, that's getting to elementary school, junior high school, and then high school, and then where one goes into college, the next level, if they are encouraged or inspired to do so. So again, coming from the womb as sex, and then there is study, and then again where soul use fewer letters than science, to put it in that manner, where sex has lesser words than the word science. So, with this, grasping more at the detail of individuality or individual, the individual travels, gets to the other side, let's say, of the college graduation, and is going forward as a graduate. Now, um, with this, there is where the two gifts placed in the individual's bosom, being congratulated and rewarded for such an accomplishment, a box of condoms and a new vehicle. Box of condoms and a new car, pretty much so. Um, box of condoms pertaining to, again, when first coming from the womb with sex, and allow that study, because there's nothing really the human being can do with sexuality the first 18 years of their lifetime. And then in that area, and bringing all that detail, will study continuing itself over into the next level, college, and then where the student, the individual, went on to graduate college, and now is going forward as a graduate. And here the individual is before these two gifts that's being placed in their bosom for such accomplishment. The car pertaining to poise. When we have study, our education, where we take our education and we go to the workforce, and then to think on when we do that with poise, to say. So it continues where the individual, when getting to these two gifts to be placed in their bosom, it happened to be that the individual was in the palm of the Creator's hand, the Creator's right palm or the Creator's right hand. And to think on the individual starting at the shoulder, if a start, I think on the humerus. Why not the humerus? Say because you have high school, right? So let's say that the Creator's right shoulder was the start. Shoulder, start, suppose, sex, study, soul, science, shoulder, start. And the individual traveled down to say the Creator's arm. And once getting to the conclusion of things, to think on stepping over the pulse, and now just happen to be in the right palm of the Creator, and land there to say like on the ground, or land there on the palm of the Creator, a box of condoms, and then also in his right hand before the individual, a brand new vehicle, pretty much. And so a graduate, pick up the box of condoms and go get into the new car. So with this, there is where the palm of the Creator was in mid-air, grasping at how the palm of the Creator is in mid-air. Further than things, the box of condoms also rubber, where we get rubbers, we call it rubbers, is identified as rubbers. So rubbers. And then where the car, the vehicle, are new wheels, is also where found could be wheel, as in get behind the wheel. Okay, go pick up the brand new unopened box of condoms, and then go get in the new car or go get behind the wheel. So the thing on the individual goes, pick up the individual, then the individual, right? The individual go picks up the rubbers and get behind the wheel. Now, mind me again, the palm where all this happens in midair. To say the individual is sitting in the car with the rubbers, and there's no land, there's nowhere to go, there's no road to drive on. Think on it brings to mind the Creator kneeling down to say, and like bringing the palm to some ground so the car can drive off. It has some road now. Think futuristically, here in the now, where we pertain ourselves to flying cars, think an individual was sitting there and just hit the flight button, and the car turned to a flying vehicle and flew, and then flew and found some road, and then landed on a road and kept going. With this, make our way to the conclusion, where there is again rubbers, the individual will, that grabs at a questioning, reinventing the will. Reinventing the will, rubbers, the individual, and then will. behind the wheel, new set of wheels, get behind the wheel, reinventing the wheel. In conclusion here, there is where Terrell, the census, he grabs at my initials, Terrell, Crookshank, and to think on, that's mentioned before the question, reinventing the wheel, reinventing the wheel, where the Terrell, the census is also found at the start, pertaining to where there is the identifying of Terrell, the colleges. Because when an individual gets done with high school, there are numerous of colleges to choose from. To give thought to, the creator kneels and put his palm on the road so the car can be started and drove forward, because now it gave some terrain to drive on. To find that was a place in pretty much like back at the start, Terrell, the census, Terrell, the colleges. The census is identifying the differ of particular places that are the same, but what makes them differ from one another, though they are pertaining to the same. And then there is, again, if the creator happens to not kneel and find that road, give the car some terrain, futuristically thinking for where we are in our day and age, where it could be just maybe the button was pushed and it turned to a flying car and went and found some road and landed and turned it back to a car. I found this interesting, and I thought to present it again in the area of soul science pertaining to individuality. Our expectation, Lord, let do what you may need to do, what you may want to do in your son Jesus' name. I thank you for the receive. We thank you for it. All right, y'all. Again, until next time, Terrell, T. Crookshank, saying peace and gone.